didn't have no money. And so she began to pray and ask the Lord. She said, Lord, I lost my job. And undoubtedly there are some folk in here that have lost their jobs. But she prayed and she said, Lord, I don't have any food. Don't have any money. I need you to make a way. And she heard a neighbor. You know, as black folk, we can get kind of loud when we're praying. She had a neighbor that heard her making all of that noise. He knocked on the door and said, woman, why are you making that noise? She said, I lost my job and I need some food. So I was praying to the Lord. That man looked at her and said, don't you know there is no God? She said, well, get out of my house. How many know when you got folk that don't believe what you believe, you got to lose company with them? And so she kicked that man out of her house. But she still began to praise God for what she did not see. But how many know the Bible said he'll make your enemies your footstool? And see, after the enemy blesses you, just don't say thank you, but you ought to prepare a meal. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Well, she began to praise God. And while she was praising God, something got a hold of the neighbor. And he found himself going to the grocery store. He picked up hamburger meat, picked up ribs. Oh, she was eating good, y'all. And he put it on the doorstep. The groceries stayed on the doorstep all night long. Lord have mercy. But when she got up the next morning to get the daily newspaper, she found that her groceries was on the doorstep. She began to lean and dance because the Lord had answered her prayers. That same old neighbor came to her house and said, woman, why are you making all that noise? She said, I woke up this morning and I had bags full of groceries on my doorstep. He said, well, I want you to know it wasn't your God that bought the groceries. I bought the groceries. The woman looked at him eyeball to eyeball and said, what you must understand is while I was praying, I didn't tell the Lord how to send the blessing, but I said, anywhere you bless me, I'll be satisfied. And some of y'all are looking for a blessing to come one way, but God said, those that don't like you, those that are talking about you, those that are mistreating you, I'm gonna make your enemies bless you. And every round goes higher and higher. Tap your neighbor and say, neighbor, God will turn it around. I'm through.